The other day, I was scrolling on my For You page and I come across a video of me. It had 2.5 million views, and it was basically just a dietitian making fun of a video that I had made 2 years ago. And if this had happened a few years ago, I would have been laying on the floor, crying, devastated, wanting to hide myself from the world for I don't know how long, because I would feel so insecure and embarrassed. And my experience when this happened to me a few days ago made me feel so proud, because it showed me how much this inner work that I've really done on myself has worked. Because I grew up being the biggest people pleaser, wanting to be liked by everyone. And from the books I've read and the self-discovering I've been doing for the last many years, I've come to a place where I no longer allow other people's opinions of me or what I've done to determine how I view myself. Because I today have so much love for myself, first of all, but also knowing of who I am and the intention behind the things that I do. And I'll explain the post. I'll explain everything that happened.
Hi, my name is Pernilla, and this is my Challenge Your Norm podcast. I'm absolutely obsessed with anything related to personal development. And well, to grow, we got to challenge our norm. And so on this podcast, we chat about life and how we can challenge our normal way of living it to make it greater than we could have ever imagined. Just one little belief, habit, bold move, and challenge at a time.
It's funny because I had actually, a week ago when my dad was visiting here, I had wanted to make a podcast episode around this topic of when you have learned to love yourself for who you are, as well as for everything that you are, your mistakes, flaws, the good, and anything in between. You really no longer need the same amount of approval from other people. And I had written this down that I wanted to make a podcast episode about this specific topic. And then this happens 2 days ago, that this post of me pops up, basically just making fun of this video that I had done or criticizing it. And I mean, that was, just a clear message that I needed to make this podcast episode for anyone out there who potentially needs to be reminded of this, of what this inner work can really do, as well as how to go about doing it. And before we get to this 2.5 million views video that was posted about me, I don't know how many it has today, but potentially very likely a lot more than that. I want to start off with sharing the thoughts that I had before that had happened, because when my dad came into town, I got reminded of how long of a way I've come on my journey, because I've lived in Los Angeles, I think, for 8 years now, or at least that was the first time I had visited Los Angeles. And my dad, every single year, except for the years when we were in lockdown, has come visiting me. And when he was here, while he was here this time, I was just reminded of the first times that he had come to visit me, because when he came this time, I have my vision boards all over my house. I'm showing him my messiness that I have in my closet. I'm showing him that I'm not a very good driver. I'm, just speaking about everything and anything. And when he came here, when I first moved to the US, when I was just still trying to figure myself out and wanting to be accepted and approved by him and everyone else, but especially him, I wanted to make my dad proud. When he would come to town, I would actually be kind of nervous and really do my best to show him how perfect I was, that I was doing all these things. I really, really wanted to make him proud. And so I would hide sides to myself that maybe I hadn't learned to accept about myself yet. And this time when we were sitting on my couch, literally looking up at my vision board, I was like, there's so many things on there that are, let's just say abnormal, because they're just kind of crazy, some of the things that I dream about in life. And previously I would have been so nervous. I would have hidden it from him so that he didn't see it. And I would used to do that with whenever other people came into my house as well. Today I'm like, yeah, whatever. This is my vision board. Maybe if I show them that I'm really crazy and weird with my vision board, then they dare to dream big as well. But I was just sitting on the couch with him looking at my vision board and just looking at him like kind of, thinking about all the things that I have put on there. Just being so at ease and peace with the fact that these are the things I'm dreaming about. This is who I am. And when we were driving, when he saw all these little things about me that I used to maybe, like I said, want to hide, be okay with it. And this really has come from learning to be okay with my flaws, learning to be okay with the fact that I'm not perfect. And that has come from journaling through whenever I've felt an insecurity or felt an anxiety feeling, uncovering it in my journaling, sometimes finding clarity on who I want to be. So understanding that I maybe currently am in one place, but I want to move to this next place. I want to be this kind of person instead. If I've maybe made a mistake or done something wrong. And with other things, it's just become understanding that I'm a weirdo and being okay with that. And when I learned to love the fact that I'm a weirdo, that's just who I am sometimes. And it's okay to be too much of whatever it is that I'm too much of at certain times. When I learn to accept and love myself when I'm also that, then I also don't need to hide it from others anymore because I've accepted that this is just a part of who I am. I feel like life gets so much better when I learn to not strive to be perfect all the time. When I started allowing myself to own up to the mistakes that I make and share with others that I cannot be perfect. It's so relieving when you're not striving to be perfect and when you own up to the fact that you're not perfect and that you're not trying to be perfect, but you are trying to grow and do your best. And it's actually a conversation I had with my boyfriend the other week, I believe last week, because I had shared something that I'd done in my past that I could tell he was a little upset about. And first I was like thinking that, oh yeah, that was maybe not too great. But then I was journaling on it and I realized how much, I'd learned from that experience. And then I really accepted myself for having done that in the past, lived through that mistake that I'd done in the past. And I had journaled on how that was maybe not the best decision, but I did the best that I could at the time. And then when we had a conversation about it later, I made it very clear to him that I'm very flawed. I have made a ton of mistakes and I am going to continue to make mistakes and I'm very imperfect and I don't want to strive to ever be perfect, which of course he understood. But it was just important for me to say out loud, how sometimes we just need to share our thoughts, the things that we have in our mind, how I am not perfect. I'm very far from it. And I don't want to be perfect. I don't want to ever be put in a box where someone tries to see me as perfect because then that will make me want to live up to that. But something that I do want is to always strive to get better and always learn from my mistakes. And I want to continue to make mistakes because, when we're growing and evolving and putting ourselves out there, we are going to make mistakes. And the best thing that we can do is learn from them, right? And just continue to strive to get and be better. And well, when you put yourself out on the internet, which is something that I have done for many years now, when you make these mistakes, they become public. And I've made a lot of mistakes or things that I wish I hadn't put out there and, grown up as I've been doing and posting on social media, like the things I posted in the beginning of my journey, I wouldn't be posting today. But what I do know is that my intention has always been good. My intention has always been to educate or to spread love or happiness or joy or laughter. Sometimes my purpose has just been like, what if I could make someone laugh today or smile today with something funny that I share? And sometimes it's been deeper through these podcasts, for example. Like I'm hoping that I spread things that bring a little bit more of a deeper kind of value. And so moving on to the post that was shared about me from this dietitian who I've seen many times. And in the beginning of my journey, I was like so scared when I saw someone like her or other people who make YouTube videos or just posts that are kind of talking down on other people. It was my worst fear that someone would ever, create some hate post video about me. But today I know that I have an intention, right? But that intention will not always be perceived by others in the way that I would like for it to. And same goes with her. She has an intention And I know for a fact that her intention with sharing this post, for example, was good. It was just like my intention was to educate and spread light and awareness on this one thing. Her intention with sharing this post about me was also to share and educate and shine light on this one thing. Our things were just the things that we wanted to educate on were just different. But I am absolutely certain that if we sat down in front of each other and had a conversation with this, we would figure out that actually our intentions are pretty similar. I'm just making podcasts. Don't worry. Go to the bathroom. I'm also quiet. My friend Alessandra just walked out. It's actually our last few days in this apartment. I'm moving out in 2 days, which is wild and a story probably for a different podcast. But I'm leaving LA for 6 weeks because I'm going to be living a little bit of a digital nomad life again for a few weeks. And then I'll come back to LA and then I'm going to leave again for the summer. So that's very exciting. But I guess that is off topic of this podcast episode. So let's go back to the intentions behind these posts that we're creating. So to explain what the post was about, it was basically one of those trends that you see on TikTok. And just to make it very clear, I made this post almost 2 years ago, and it's not a post I would make today. But my intention with the post was to educate. So basically, the post was like this trend where it's like, you can have this or you can have this. And it was me showing a massive bowl of salad and a tiny bowl, comparing that to a tiny bowl of chips. And I remember the reason that I made that post was because I just had a conversation, I think in one of my challenges or a coaching call or something like that, where someone had been trying to lose weight for so long and hadn't seen any results. And when we dug into what this person was actually eating, we realized that, oh, wow, it's because like she didn't know that in this little amount of chips, there was this many calories. And so she thought she was eating so little and almost like starving herself, but she just wasn't eating the right foods that would fill her up and feel satisfied to see the results that she wanted. And so, I'd had this conversation with her and shared like, okay, well, if you add more greens into your diet and more high protein, then you're going to feel more full and satisfied. And, instead of eating these chips, you can make these protein cakes or whatever, like just basically helping her make it easier for her reaching her weight loss goal. And so I made this post of like this massive salad and then comparing it to these little tiny bowl of chips, because for many people, they're just not aware that like 5 little chips can have the same amount of calories as like a lettuce head, right? Like it's actually wild. Okay, that was maybe an extreme. Maybe like 10 tortilla chips can have the same as like one bowl of lettuce or something like that, right? If you just compare calorie wise. And of course you shouldn't just be eating lettuce. Like everyone knows this, but it was just to like, put a light on the fact that you can eat so much more if you make the right nutritional choices. And so in this post that this dietitian made, who's she's actually massive on YouTube and big on social media. And she makes a lot of posts on just posts on what other people are eating and kind of critiques it and gives it applause if she agrees with the choices this person is making. And so she posted this video of me doing that. And then right after she's like, excuse me, aren't we over this? I thought we were over this, like comparing foods like this or something like that. Aren't we over it at this point or something she shares? And as if I had just made this post, which again, it was almost 2 years ago that I made this post, but I get her point, right? It's like, she's like thinking of people who want to develop a more balanced lifestyle and diet and not compare food and eat food more in an intuitive way, which is something that I also have talked so much about. And I know that the people who watch me on YouTube or listen to these podcasts, like these people know that I share a lot of different things when it comes to food, depending on which stage you're at and what you specifically need. Because some people who've been dealing with restrictive eating and binge eating, or someone like that, I would try to help them with finding a more intuitive way of eating and simplify the way that they look at food to help them develop a more healthy relationship with food. And someone who maybe has no clue about anything when it comes to food and really wants to lose weight and doesn't have that same issue. Maybe they are wanting to start tracking their macros. And for them, it may be more beneficial to understand the difference in what is in the different food that they're eating and give them more that kind of an approach. So there's not one right or wrong way to go about it, right? It's just about like, who are you speaking to? Who is the individual that needs help? And it's also why in my nutritional guide that you get when you sign up for my April Transformation Challenge, which actually starts tomorrow on April 1st. If you're listening to this podcast episode when it comes out, in the nutritional guide, I share 3 different nutritional approaches so that you can find out what is the approach that you need for you to feel at your best, for you to reach the goals that you have for your specific life, which, by the way, I really hope you sign up. My March transformation has been so incredible. These humans, oh my gosh, I've just enjoyed every single conversation and interaction that I've had with them. And in case you're hearing about this for the first time, there is a workout challenge, a journaling challenge, which, as I've spoken about in this podcast episode, journaling literally has changed my life and the way that I view myself and thereby take actions and feel as I walk on this earth. There is the nutritional guide. There's also an option for a meal plan, 600 recipes, weekly chat, and a community where we encourage each other every single day throughout entirety of April. Really like set ourselves up for success with developing these habits that we deep down want. There's also a morning routine, and once you sign up, you will have lifetime access. So if you feel called to join, I will put the link in the show notes, and I hope that I get to see you there. But going back to this, knowing that both this dietitian and I had really good intentions when we made these posts that we had. And even though, of course, it was at first like a shock to see this many million people had seen this post of me and then her criticizing my video or the thing that I had created 2 years ago, was hard at first. Once I dug into reminding myself of who I am, reminding myself that I probably wouldn't make a post like that today, and that I learned from this that maybe next time I think about doing something like that, I should put more thought behind it to make sure that it comes across in a way that everyone can understand that intention and no one gets harmed from a post like that. Once I reminded myself that this too will pass, that yes, this is annoying right now, but I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to do my best to do better in the future. As I reminded myself that her intention was good, and as I reminded myself that I am a good human, I have good intentions. And the people who know me will know that. And I cannot always please everyone. I cannot always be liked by everyone. It's so easy to judge others when you don't know what's actually going on behind the scenes, when you don't know their actual intentions. And if I wanted to control that, then I would be miserable because I can't control everyone always liking me. And I feel like throughout these last many years of being on social media, I have gotten better and better and better at understanding that I can't be liked by everyone, but all I can control is my response and giving love to those who potentially are disliking what I do and just sending them love. On the post, I did share a little comment, just sharing what my intentions were and that I'm sending everyone love and light. And to the dietitian that made the post, I also sent a message. I can't control these things. All I can control are my actions, getting better, and reminding myself how many things in life I have to be grateful for. And that's actually what really helped me. When this happened, I reminded myself of all the things that I have in my life. I even wrote a little list, and then how exciting things are about to happen in my life, the actions that I'm taking. And I wrote my boyfriend that, hey, just so you know, like this happened and it bummed me out. But then I reminded myself of all these things, and that made it easier for me to kind of like overcome this little like thing that had happened. And first of all, it's kind of funny because what he wrote was like, oh, that's so cool. You should make another one of those videos, because like he is like into fitness and likes educating people on, I mean, I guess just like macros and health and helping people get in shape. So he was like, oh yeah, you should make another one of those videos where you compare, because like they're so useful. I kind of as a joke, but also to cheer me up, I guess, after having seen this post about me. But I feel like I'm rambling at this point. And I'm just hoping that what I shared today is going to help you through the next time you experience some fear because you realize that someone spoke badly about you, dislikes what you do, dislikes a choice you made, dislikes something that you put out there on the internet. That if that happens, whether it's a parent, a friend, someone you don't know on the internet, if they criticize you in any way, my hope is that you take out your journal instead of grabbing the food and starting binge eating, instead of grabbing the alcohol to numb those emotions or whatever type of other way you typically handle a negative emotion, that you pick up your journal. You may want to go move your body first and then pick up your journal just to, clear out that negativity, or meditate or whatever works for you. But that you at some point take your journal out and remind yourself of all the things you've done in your life that were good. You remind yourself of who you are, what your intentions are. And if some of the things you've done, like I spoke about previously, accept yourself for having made a mistake and do your best to learn from them so that you don't repeat them. Or if you do, at least you try your best to continue to grow and get better. Remind yourself why you don't need to be perfect, that there is no such thing as perfect, that it's okay to be human and not always do things in the way that other people want you to, or maybe you have put yourself on such a pedestal as to what you need to execute on, how you need to be in this world, that it's okay to sometimes not be able to live up to that. And if we fall short, that we get up and we try again. Maybe apologize if something needs to be apologized for. It is Pernilla from the future here. I was just about to upload this podcast episode and can see that the dietitian has gotten back to me. She wrote me back a reply that I'm not going to say the exact words, but she was just so understanding and supportive. And she said that she has deleted the post. And this just shows that when you own up to your mistakes, or you act out of love and kindness rather than hatred or, I guess, any sort of negativity, I believe that we humans can get along regardless of what initial conflicts or disagreements have come up. And I think does not just apply to, a social media post like this, but it applies to anything in life. It's the same when we're maybe arguing with a loved one, family member, friend, partner, that if we choose to look at the other person with compassion and understanding rather than wanting to prove our point, wanting to make sure that we are in the right and they are in the wrong, that then it's typically, or for me, pretty much always, when both parties are willing to do that, then there will be nothing else to discuss about or argue about. There will be no more negative energy in the room. This does not mean that you have to agree, but simply the understanding of one another and understanding that the other person had good intentions and was doing the best that they could at the time, with vulnerability and sharing our honest truth from a place of love. It has always been my experience that conflicts will dissolve and love will rise. And I don't know who needed that reminder today, but in case you did, I just did want to share that the dietitian, had such understanding for me and wished me good luck, and even deleted this post that for her was doing really, really well. Someone like that could easily have just let it be because she's getting new followers from a post like that because it's going viral. But she chose to respect me. She only must have deleted it for me, to be kind to me, I guess, because I also was being really kind to her instead of acting out of, anger or whatever I could have done when you see someone else make a post about you. So with love heals all. It's very deep. But I thought this was an important message to share before I uploaded this podcast. However, I was about to complete the podcast, so we'll go back to the original podcast right now. My hope really is that the next time you get criticized or looked at in a negative way, that you give yourself so much love, because you really deserve that. I think majority of humans in this world are really good, and we are all acting from a place, from what we have, what we know, where we're at this stage of our life. And hopefully we are all striving to get better and do better, but we can only do the best that we can in this moment, right? And we need to go through experiences to learn and grow. And the best thing that we can do is just give ourselves love and compassion and kindness, and remind ourselves of this intention and the beauty that we hold within, because we do hold that within. And if you need to remind yourself right now, go to the mirror and look yourself in the eye and tell yourself some kind words. I challenge you to say at least 10 things that you like about yourself. And if you can, that you love about yourself. And then grab that journal, because you deserve to remind yourself of that. And the more we do this, the better we get at it. And I must say, I was really blown away by how I handled this situation and how quickly I overcame something that I in the past would have been sad about for days or weeks or I don't know how long. It was as if the self-development that I've really been working through came to a test, and I passed. Of course, I will get better at it. Hopefully, the more I practice it, it definitely felt great. It really did. And I want for us all to have those experiences when negativity or criticism or challenges, learning lessons. I see this as a learning lesson when they come our way. And at this point, I feel like I'm just rambling, and I gotta get on with my day, and so do you. So thank you so much for listening in. And I hope I know this isn't going to resonate with everyone, but if you ever come to a point where you've been criticized, I hope that maybe you can come back to this podcast episode and it'll help you remind yourself of how beautiful of a soul you have, and that you're allowed to make mistakes. And if you want to join the April Transformation Challenge, I hope I get to see you in there, because I feel like when we do journaling, that's going to help us. But also, the more badass workouts I've done, the more confidence I gain, right? When we watch ourselves do really, 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 really challenging things, and consistently doing those challenging things just helps us build this self-belief in a new self-identity that feels badass and confidence. And so when we experience challenges like this, or any challenges, we are so much more capable of handling it. So highly hope, is that something you can say? I highly hope that you join it, and that you give yourself so much love and kindness today. Share this with a friend if you found it useful. That means the world to me. And also, if you haven't yet written a review or given me some stars, it helps me tremendously. I cannot say that word for the life of me. Tremendously. Nope. We're just going to leave it at that. It helps me a lot. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, remember that in order for you to grow, you have to challenge your norm.